For one of my research areas, I'm developing sensory practice using synesthesia and cross-modalism and applying it to poetry and working with people with visual impairments. Today at Touchbase, I've been working with Kate and the crew, and we've been creating essentially poetry film and sound film, and working very closely with the students one-to-one and helping them to create more of a metaphorical dialogue, whether that's getting in touch with their senses more and trying to imagine it's something else, or whether that's simply storytelling. And particularly one of the students we work with today, we used a lot of music and looking at how sound can take us somewhere else with our emotions. With my past experiences working in teaching and education with people with visual impairment and complex and additional needs, I feel in a lot of the schools I've worked in, even some of the specialist schools, that there's a real need for sort of more creative dialogue for them to be using that, which was something that both Kate and I were really excited about when we talked to her. I also think it's something that a lot of people have no idea about. Like, this is really special that the crew have been able to come into the centre and sort of show you a slice of life that perhaps you may not have seen before, and just really how much the students need people to sort of give them sensory communication, that there are so many different ways of communicating, perhaps breaking through barriers of communication that sort of perhaps hold people back, hold them bonding from other people sort of outside in the world. Some people might find it controversial to introduce people with visual impairment or who are partially deaf to sort of veer away from film. Is it something that we should be encouraging them to do if it isn't perhaps what we might say is their strongest sense? But I think in a way that's complete exclusion, and the whole part of the project and this centre is inclusion. For example, Hazel today was obsessed by her film and she kept wanting to play it again and again and again. So even if part of the film is the sound that she's obsessed with, it's still something that's a massive part of film, so it's not just purely visual. As an example from my previous project, I was really interested in people with visual impairment having a perception of colour, and I was interested in those who have always been blind to see what they felt about colour, if they felt excluded, if they felt included. One of the exercises we did was eating various different foods, and they got to say which colour it was, and they built a relationship with texture, with how it felt in their mouth, giving sort of a different perspective of colour. We don't all have the same perspective of colour anyway, so I think I don't think it in any way. I think sometimes we can occasionally be too worried that it's something we shouldn't let them explore, but I actually think the opposite, and that it should be fully inclusive, which I feel this project definitely is. It was really exciting to put both film and sort of poetic dialogue together today. I think there's all sorts of pathways that could possibly sort of lead on from here. My last project, Michael Rosen gave me a review for the book, which is going to be produced coming out later this year from my previous school. So it'd just be really interesting to see what sort of media we can use from this sort of project. So what's very exciting about the project today is that it's going to be, part of the film is going to be screened at Open Senses Festival, which is an amazing sense, taste, cross-modal explosion that's happening across London, I think the 19th, 20th and 21st of May. And it's run and put together by a wonderful collaborator called Stephanie Singer. Her company Bittersweet are creating some incredible music and experiencing that through taste and sound. This is one of the things. There's an entire list of things that are going on, so you can find that online.